To find, and of course, a very exciting morning to return here on your screen. And I'm glad enjoying this conversation now as well, Vlad. And it's a fine morning to have you return as always.
So good to be here, Brad James. Exciting, fabulous morning.
Well, the weekend is here, and I'm particularly excited for you. You know why?
Why?
I'm very sure, I can almost certainly put my money on it, you'd return on Monday with a fresh cut.
You don't have to be doing this.
I love nothing more than those fresh cuts.
Surely it would be.
All right, now, let's begin the conversation this morning from the world of tennis, where Anett Kontaveit, of course, continues her match-winning run here in Doha, extending that run to 8 matches, and was in action late yesterday. And that win has improved her record this particular year to about 11-3. We understand defeated Tunisia's Ons Jabeur 6-4, 6-1 to reach these semis.
Fantastic game. 11 minutes. Fantastic game it was for Anett Kontaveit. Good player any day, anytime. I remember yesterday we were talking about it. Ons Jabeur had been also quite a good player, but when you keep them side by side, you see the performances of Anett Kontaveit in recent times, you realize that there's no way Ons Jabeur was going to beat Anett Kontaveit from my standpoint, especially coming from the back of last season and her performances last season. Anett Kontaveit, you look at end of the year, had won a lot of trophies, starting from the Indian Wells, and performed so well throughout last season, moved up in the ranking to be among the top 10, and had performed consistently. And going to Dubai, she had won a couple of titles in Dubai. And moving into this one, we had a head-to-head clash with Ons Jabeur. But not remarkable when you see the performances of Ons Jabeur in recent times. I look at recent times too for Ons Jabeur. She had been a player who withdrew from the Australian Open. Partly she withdrew from tournaments, the pre-tournaments to Australian Open too, because of injury. And even the WTA tours at the end of the season, she also withdrew from it. So it had been difficult, not really playing tennis, but came into this tournament and playing quite well in Doha. But it had to be an end, meeting Anett Kontaveit, and that was it we saw.
All right, and now as you talk about Anett Kontaveit, now she's reached her first WTA 1000 event since 2019, and that was in Miami. You know, also met the stage at the Rome 2018, was run up at Wuhan in 2018 as well. But when you look at the record, we'll be talking about in very fine details where this puts her in terms of favorite landers, particularly looking at the fact that, you know, she's won 9 of her last 13 matches against top 10 opposition dating back to Eastbourne last year.
I agree. In 7 months, Anett had won 5 titles for me. And currently this month, she had already won in St. Petersburg. So you could see the form of Anett Kontaveit. Good player anytime, any day, especially when you look at the female division and how it's turning out. They're not playing quite well, a lot of upsets. And when you have a player who can perform consistently, you understand what it means. It means that you're consistently hoping, being motivated, and attacking and playing quite well against other players. Where it's keeping her now, I think she's one of the favorites to win this one for me. Though it's still early and it's still difficult. At the quarterfinals, she won Ons Jabeur. Moving to the semifinals, it's going to be keenly contest in the semifinals, which I think she might just go all the way and get this one.
Now, when you talk of, you know, she might go on and get this one, let's not forget that she faces the most informed player on tour, who racked up a 9th win in this particular championship. We're talking about Yelena Ostapenko. So it's no mean feat. And you look at the quality, well, she's got it. The quality, talk about Anett Kontaveit, but she's up against the most informed player on tour, and she's now improved her record to 11-2 this particularly. It must be some blockbuster clash.
It's going to be a blockbuster clash. I think it's a clash that, on one hand, we might see a shocker considering Ostapenko's performances. She defeated Gabin Muguruza in straight set, 6-2, 6-2. And it became quite a game you look at and realize that Ostapenko has come to stay one way or the other. Has been playing clinical this season so far. She's been fabulous for me the way she's been playing, and fantastic win she got against Gabin Muguruza. And I think the encounter between Ostapenko and Kontaveit would be a mouth-watering one. It's an encounter that I'm really looking forward to. I want to see them play. I want to see them engage. I hope it won't be just one simple game that turns out someone wins the other 66 minutes or thereabout. But I really hope it goes all out and be that game that we'll be looking forward to.
All right, now let's leave the Contervid and, of course, on Jabo clash for a bit and return talk about more tour events here. Still from Doha, let's talk about Iga Swiatek from Poland dismissing the current world number 2 and the top seed here in Doha. We're talking Arina Sabalenka in straight sets. Well, I saw that game last night, Blyden, and you know, it was a dominant display from Iga Swiatek, and now leveling their head-to-head to one apiece. It wasn't about the win, but of course about the performance and of course the manner with which she saw off the number 2nd ranked player in the world. We're talking about the lady Arina Sabalenka.
That's the beautiful thing about the female tennis for me. When you had a number 7 seed in the competition, Iga Swiatek hit Arina Sabalenka, who's world number 2, and 6-2, 6-3 in 1 hour 14 minutes. Phenomenal game, and moving to the semi-finals, making a shocker for the world number 2. At one point, you would have given this game to world number 2, considering Iga Swiatek's performances in the very last tour she participated. But you look at it and think about it and realize that she's rejuvenated of some sort. She's coming into this tournament with her head high. She wants to prove a point, and the best way to prove this point is to beat a world number 2 as she did and perform quite well. She was quite dominant, and this game of tennis, I've realized, is all about putting that pressure and making a dominance presence against your opponent.
And now as you talk about this game, talk about it from the Arina Sabalenka perspective. She's world number 2, but she's set to lose that sport, a sport she's held since last year, August. And now when Monday's latest rankings are released, and you look at Sabalenka was leading their head-to-head prior to this particular one and was quite dominant the last time they faced off. Many say it was a case of fatigue, looking at the fact that Iga Swiatek or Arina Sabalenka had dropped just 8 games prior to this particular quarterfinal meeting with Iga Swiatek. Her ground strokes, not so powerful, made lots of unforced errors, in that particular clash, and not as clinical as always. What would you attribute this loss to?
Well, I'll attribute it to a better player playing against her. That's how I see it. Because Iga Swiatek has also participated in many games, and have seen her in the tours this year, playing, losing some and winning some. But coming into this game, I thought it was all about who wants it the most for me. And it had to be an Iga Swiatek's game. From the world number 2's perspective, it would be disappointing that she lost this one. She looked a little bit sloppy for me watching her. Looked so sloppy. Wasn't very active the way one would expect her to be. But not to take anything away from the performances of Iga Swiatek, she was top-notch. She was the best version of herself that I've seen in recent times.
Right, and now one stand for Swiatek. She would now taken 6-seeded Maria Sakkari of Greece in the last 4 of this particular. And Swiatek and Sakkari have met 3 times previously, all in 2021, and Sakkari emerged the winner each time, including in last year's Roland Garros quarterfinals, where the Greek ended Swiatek's title defense right here. Now, very quickly, let's leave this particular